Hey, greetings everybody. This is Wesley Pepper. This is the Lexcia podcast. This is episode 120. To all my new returning listeners, man, much love, much love. If you are new to this channel, smash that like and subscribe button down there at the bottom, man. And I hope this podcast grow. It's good to see that YouTube has started to suggest the video to the podcast to different people, so that's dope. So I don't know if I was thanking YouTube for that, but I won't. Maybe I did already. I don't know. Much love to everybody. And if you're listening to this episode and you haven't subscribed, please do. That'll just go a long way, and all of that shit that regarding that. And much love to Uncle Asal Kebalan. I know he's probably listening to this. He probably is listening to this episode. And remember that we're recording the African Genius podcast with him. With chat also available on that podcast series also available on this channel. Check that out as well. There's some really dope ass content there, man, so have a look at that. And just before I get into my guest, just my last week's guest, my stuff to Arts and Ives. If you missed it, they've got a show coming up. Fuck, I should have written it down. It's in the 20. Okay, I will actually put the other thing. I should have written it down. But it's this month. They have a show in Westbury, an art exhibition in Westbury, the 20 something of this month. I should have wrote that down. But check it out, man. Like we had a hell of a time recording last week, and I really felt the energy, man. And I thought, the concept was just really fire. So yeah, check that out. And so regarding today's guest, I'm talking to Lerato Lishaba from Simplophe, Soweto. He's an artist. He's an artist, musician, writer, so forth and so forth. And he does a bunch of cool stuff, man. So whether we're talking music, art, jam sessions. I know, like Lerato did this a similar type of setup what we did with a greenhouse session, doing with a greenhouse session where you sort of jam in your backyard. I've noticed it's a real vibe that's been picking up actually across the country, which is dope. So we're talking a little bit about that, about his music, about who he is. And a little bit of everything. So, my king, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, how's it, everyone? Hey, good to be here. How's it, Wes?
Man. It's where we now.
Yeah.
It's the 11th of August, and I reckon if you're a creative person,
Yeah.
so big up to you. So, I think I'm just surviving. Not surviving. I'm doing okay, but 2023 is a motherfucker. So,
It's been crazy. It's been a crazy year,
we won't go into all of that nonsense. At least not right now.
Yeah.
So, my brother, let's start off right on top there, man. For my listeners who don't know you or know of you, just a little bit about yourself. What type, music. What type of music, what type of art you do, and so forth, and we'll just take it from there.
Oh, yeah. As you know by now, I'm Lerato Lishaba, all the way from Johannesburg. I'm a self-taught guitarist. I'm a music producer. I'm a conceptualist. So I'm very much active in different disciplines of arts, so that's what I am in a nutshell, Yeah.
So let's start off with the music, my brother. So you're a guitarist. Can you explain to my listeners like the sound, what type of sound, what type of I don't want to call it the genre because that's
mainly because mainly even my music doesn't have a genre, per se. But my main end goal is to find a form or a place where we can mutually meet with the audience, much more on a spiritual and enlightenment level. It's more like finding oneself through the energy of music, more than focusing on the song or the actual genre itself. But in general, pushing the agenda of why are we making music? What is this music thing serving as a purpose? Why are we using it as a tool for certain instances? So yeah, I generally don't have a genre, but to give people much more of a better direction, I would say, you would say I'm a urban folk guitarist or urban folk musician, of which I focus on encompassing both our indigenous forms of knowledge through our music and also being a young person, living in this time and era. So we have to have some form of a balance. So yeah, my music is mainly based around that, energy field.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's interesting how you frame it. That like, how you frame your music. It's sort of like life is happening, and your music is kind of adapting
Yeah,
to that, and sort of like allowing
to
people
that.
to
Yeah.
tap into something. Yeah, man. Let's
Yeah,
just
true
just
that.
let's explain a little bit about that, man, because that's actually quite a lot of artists from across a lot of genres are using a similar thing where, as you're saying, they're letting their art adapt to society. So just explain a little bit like what is it, that you're letting your sound adapt to, and we just unpick it, but
Look, basically, I mean, coming from a township, obviously our dynamics are different. It's only mainly like inspiration of a day-to-day livity. People going to work, people returning from work, kids playing in the streets. Just the energy feel of the township. The township lingo, how people adapt to life, how other people move into the location, from other various places from outside of Johannesburg,
yeah,
because yeah, that's a whole culture, vibe going on there of its own existence, so I feel a lot from that in most cases, because being a musician, I can't neglect my surroundings. I can only speak of or express of my current time or what's going on at the present moment around my surroundings.
you said there like I know of different parts of the West, there's people from all over the continent. So
Yeah.
what type of sounds, musical influence did you grow up to, and how did that sort of like shape?
Uh, Musical influences mainly have been like your music from the Shangani people from the north of Johannesburg, also influence from the people from Malawi, because we largely, Joburg City was built on laborers who are from Malawi and Mozambique in most cases. So it became part of the major also influential sounds beyond Kwaito, and beyond other musical elements which exist in the township, but mainly it's your sons from Malawi and northern of Johannesburg, yeah.
Actually, you raised um, I know that to all my, to all the listeners who listen to this channel, I think we kind of spoke about South Africa's various music and art genres, that
Yeah,
on
and
the
art, yeah, advanced, yeah.
township system. Kwaito was one of it. We actually didn't speak a lot about Kwaito on here, which is a genre of music
Yeah.
that is very nostalgic for me as well, because I feel like sort of died out in the, I would say, the well, early 2020s, 2000s. I don't hear any quite good now these
Yeah,
days. Um,
yeah, yeah,
did that, did that music shape you in any way? Did the culture shape the way you think, the way you?
yeah, it did, yeah, and played a very huge role, because I was born in the 90s, you know, yes. I'm still young though. Yes, sir. I was born around that era, when Kwaito was the main freedom sound, especially in liberation of our country, And also it was a sound for the youth, where they could express themselves of how they feel of their political situations, how they feel of their surroundings in their townships. So yes, I was largely influenced by the sound of Kwaito because it's what we grew up on as our local radio music being played around. It was mainly one of our main languages musically, which we had around the township at that time. So yeah, I've got a very huge influence of Kwaito, streetwise, and all of that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Kwaito also has, just like what hip hop, it has many little elements within it as well. And street
Yeah,
Scamto, and was one of it.
yeah,
But also
come to yeah, sure,
street fashion, the way it is. I know
yeah,
that I know in the early 90s, fuck yeah, mid 90s, I used to jam, bro. I used to jam quite a lot, especially the dance.
yeah,
It's funny because I don't dance at all.
yeah,
I remember time the last time I did dance. If I did, I was probably drunk.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was a real it was actually interesting how it shaped um, current trends that we have today. And one of it being,
Yeah,
I don't really want to go there, but big corporation took complete advantage of street culture in South Africa, and it's all now fucking monetized to death, and it's all anyway. I just think capitalism sucked and took all the creativity and what's beautiful about it, and just made it into Amapiano. But I kind of want to get there. I think your sound is off. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because there are people speaking behind, hence I muted. All
All
right,
right.
it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Also, like I actually am going somewhere with different with all these influences around the township because we are living in a. But
Mm,
we'll get to that a bit later. Um, you're saying with all of that, with the differences of coming from Malawi, different parts of the continent, and streets and
yeah.
Kwaito, and I'm sure there have to be hip hop in there somewhere as well. Like you say, your music is sort of fitting up, or rather, make sense of this crazy. Can you just explain to us a little bit more about your music journey? So, where did it start?
Uh,
Yeah.
Basically, with my music journey, I started around when I was like 13 years old, but it wasn't really that much of a serious thing because I was still at school at that time. But around 2002, that's when I started getting serious about music. I never worked in my life, so I studied a bit of guitar. Then I left it. Then I went into musical production, producing beats and stuff like that. And then as I grew older, then I started joining bands, around the city. So ever since that time, I have been, practicing music. I've never worked any corporate job. I've never worked any form of job except making art. So yeah, that's how it has been. I'm a self-taught guitarist, and yeah, in many other fields, I'm a self-taught.
What bands? What
So
bands?
yeah, that's my partly. I played for Skin to Soul. I've played for Seeds of Light. I've played for Love Glory. I've played for PCUC. Currently, I'm working with my personal ensemble, Urban Village. So I've been a session artist actually for the longest of time, playing for many other various artists around Joburg. So yeah, I spend most of the time being a session artist. But yeah, I did dwell into a few bands, quite stable for the longest of time. Yeah, hence I'm still doing what I'm doing now.
Just to some of our listeners, explain to us what is a session musician. Did you get that?
Can you repeat that again? No, no, no,
Uh,
no.
yeah, just for my listeners, man. What is a session musician? How does a session musician
Oh,
operate?
a session musician could be playing any other instrument, but their main job would be backing instrumentalists for other artists who need that particular service of an instrument. You know, if you're playing piano, you could be a session artist and play for every artist that needs a pianist in their band, you know. Meaning mainly you don't belong to any particular band, but you are like a freelancer. Yeah, to put it in a better way. You
Yeah,
are
yeah.
a freelance artist, you know, or instrumental player, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Because I wanted to sort of just ask you with a follow-up question on that. So, how would let's take VCUC, how would they do they, or rather, how do you know you must sort of audition for a band like that? Does a band have a specific sound and then this specific musician and they call out, or how does that
Uh,
process work?
it, it, work, it works different for different genres at the end of the day, you know, because gospel guys have got their own way of dealing with their artists, you know, and also in my case, I get more approached. You know, I never go out to audition and stuff like that. It's people who really like what I do, and they feel that yeah, my sound will be relevant for their sound. So that's how I would get most gigs. You know, but depending on the form of genre you're into, it has different ways and systems of each functions. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
different from theater. You know, we don't generally audition, but yeah, it's like a recommendation type of a vibe.
yeah, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, okay. Um, moving forward, man. So 2023 now, like we had COVID and all that, and um,
Yeah.
one of the bread and butter, um, I guess things for musicians was live performances. Yeah, in South Africa, fuck man, I don't think it's taken a dip, but I don't think the numbers are as flash as it was pre-pandemic. Um,
Yeah. True.
what was it about COVID, or rather, let's start there because I wanna move into the Muzurki sessions and so
Yeah.
forth
Yeah.
and sort of our concept. But just how did I guess how did COVID affect you as a musician, like and other bands that you know?
Okay.
So I mean, you had three.
In terms of COVID, it was a different case for me. You know, fortunately, in a case that yeah, I did suffer the depression of restriction in terms of travel. But in terms of income, it wasn't bad that much because we had just released our first debut album with the band. So we are already getting or had some saved up earnings from our previous performances and also money coming in from royalties, you know. So financially wise, I was quite stable during the COVID era. It was only after because now the movement of live shows wasn't picking up in time. Everything was quite slow. That's when I started feeling, you know, that okay, now there's no money, you know. But during COVID, yeah, I was feeling quite okay because yeah, I had some savings from our past performances and also royalties coming in. So financially, it wasn't bad, but in terms of restriction of moving around, going to perform, I mean, that's what we used to, you know. So yeah, that
That's
was the main challenge of traveling more than
yeah. That's
yeah, that was
actually
the main challenge.
yeah. Philip, sorry.
Yeah. I was done. Yeah, but I was saying that was the main challenge of traveling, you know.
yeah. It's that thing that that I wanna sort of work up to is that is the lack of live shows. So I mean, before there was nothing like COVID before, so there was no
Yeah,
need for anybody to think of like, hey, shit, we can't go jam
yeah,
anymore. But like since
yeah.
that sort of got squeezed, um, like other bands. Now I'm not talking of yourself, because we'll get to that. But how do you? I
Yeah.
mean, I think to jam, but how do you think they adapted? How do you think they? Yeah. What type of? How did they adapt? What type of? How are they thinking and so forth? And when I mean thinking, I mean like how are they like yeah, adapting. I think you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. Yo, bro, that's a difficult one. Because I mean, even in the industry, even in the performance art spaces, like your festivals, your clubs, your pubs, and stuff like that. I mean, those are the avenues which I mean, artists are guarantee of that they're gonna have bread on the table.
Yeah,
Beyond having recordings. So yeah, it was quite a difficult, shaky one because once we can't access stages of which is our offices. I mean, it's a huge frustration. And talking for also like there are many acts or bands which don't have record labels who are just running independently. And without any form of relief fund, it can be quite frustrating to be an artist. Like we also experience lots of artists selling their equipment. Like during COVID, it was it was shocking to see most artists selling their guitars, selling their instruments because they needed money and there was no form of generating money, and also they needed to live and pay rent. So you decide to keep your guitar or sell it so that you can have a place to stay. Because either way, there aren't any gigs happening around. So yeah, it was quite a bit frustrating. But yeah, we're slowly trying to pick up because we understand we are born for this. So we will overcome somehow.
yeah, man. That's actually,
Yeah.
man. It's never nice to hear stuff like that, at all. I sort of wanted to pick up on that,
Yeah.
um, and bear with me, Yana. So
Yeah, yeah, sure.
if you take Urban Village, they've got a
Yeah.
large following, right? They've got
Yeah, yeah.
music. They've got CDs, albums, and so forth. Um, and they have a following. It's not like it's just access to their music that has now
Yeah.
sort of just like messed up. So isn't there any musicians, or don't you, or isn't there anybody else that is because what you did, basically what I'm trying to say is what you did was that you looked at your surroundings, you found out that you do have the
Hmm.
following, you do have all of these people. We
Yeah.
can't go to Melville, we can't do shows in Utah and so forth. And you started to jam in your
Yeah.
backyard, which is the most
Yeah.
practical, which is so practical. It's almost like it was in everybody's face, but nobody really. Are other musicians looking to do the same thing? Sort of
Uh,
imagining how they do shows.
yeah, yeah, yes, actually now it's quite a common thing that's happening around, because even venues are not yet willing to open fully for us. So backyard sessions is the only way we could sustain because you're guaranteed of your few people coming there. You're guaranteed of a certain support and you're guaranteed of a brand that you are pushing is going to get somewhere at the end of the day. I'm going to a club which was a few years back COVID restricted. Even going out there, people they don't come out in large numbers as they used to because now
Yeah,
they are used to staying at home and doing stuff like that. So what we saw is that rather compile a similar situation for them where we can make events in enclosed like backyard spaces, because then people still feel how do they call this? They still feel cozy in one spot. They don't feel over too crowded, because COVID has taught us not to gather in crowds, even though we know we have seemingly passed through that point, but it's still in our conscious that, you know, we can't gather in crowds, so it's not, so we don't go out as we do anymore, but providing a space for suitable enough space for artists to showcase their stuff. That's all we need. We just need a space. A stage can be anything at the end of the day.
So tell us a little bit about the
So
Muzurki sessions, and like how did
yes.
it come about? What type of art, what type of artists you
Okay.
feature and so forth.
uh, uh, okay. Basically, Muzurki de Populare, meaning the population of Soweto. So the name Muzurki was a nickname of the founder of Soweto, you know, which was Alfred Mpanza, so like the guy that started giving out all the houses to the people for them to dwell, or give them space as a settlement to dwell. His nickname was Muzurki, so Muzurki de Populare, meaning the population of Muzurki, technically, so but that specifically focuses on like a more of a social like networking session, focused on like strictly vinyl, like record play. Like we strictly play vinyls, which are LPs records. Yeah, but Muzurki is a concept housed under I run a creative hub called House of Kumba. House of Kumba means house of creativity. Kumba means creativity in Swahili. So basically, it's house of creativity, which is a creative hub which houses artists together there and share knowledge beyond performances. There's a lot that we're missing as artists, and simple things like how to draft a proposal to apply for a festival, how to draft a proposal for applying for funding, how do you draft a profile, a biography, stuff like this. How does because like we lack in like stuff like photo shoots, like in building our profiles, So House of Kumba is merely a space for us to exercise that right of art of how do we now make our paperwork be professional as our artwork on stage,
Yeah,
So
man.
basically, House of Kumba, yeah, it's a creative hub for focusing on that. And Muzurki, the Popular, is just a session of entertainment when we are chilling at the House of Kumba,
Yeah.
outside
I
of
think
work. Yeah.
I love
But
the
it's,
whole thing
but
of
it's,
playing
yeah,
vinyl.
yeah.
Sorry.
I didn't get that. Please repeat.
Oh no, no, no. I was gonna ask you. I thought you were still finishing a point there, but I was gonna say I think like playing vinyls. I remember. Oh, Ashley's almost close to 10 years. Just ridiculous how time flies. Probably less than that. In Maboneng, there
Yeah,
was Sundays. There was that one place that used to I think it was a Sunday. They used to play vinyls, but
yeah,
also trade and sell. It was like interesting, like this whole
yeah.
culture.
Vinyl. Yeah, I think it's vinyl. Yeah, vinyl lifestyle. I think. Yeah, yeah.
So is it is it just do you just is it like with hip hop where you play it on all turntables and you keep switching, or
Yeah,
how does it
like it depending on the DJ, because we allow a vast music, a variety to be played, because we are open-minded people and we are all there to learn from each other, So if you play hip hop, you come with your vinyls, you do your hip hop, your own style. If you play jazz, you come with your jazz vinyls, you know you just present your music to us and we all learn from that. There's nothing specific, or maybe it's just a house vinyl
yeah,
music session, or it's just a deep house. No, all forms of music are allowed. All
that's
forms of
interesting.
music are allowed. But yeah. So we
So,
group to a bit of everything.
yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I guess just for the fact that like vinyls has a subculture there,
yeah,
and if memory serves me, I know that vinyls in terms of units, I think it's long outsold CDs. This is a good
yeah,
couple of years now, and it's starting to
yeah,
streaming. I know there's also more so because musician sells, vinyl
yeah,
versus stream. The royalties are much more. And
yeah,
it's interesting how I think the more things change, the more they stay the same, and how trends keep sort of
yeah.
itself. Um, um,
Sure. Yeah,
Vinyl is also something that's also kind of close to me. I don't actually have a vinyl player, but there's a lot about it, man. There's that sound, that type of a static, the type of sound
yeah,
that
yeah.
get it
It's actually dust engraved in the
does.
grooves of the tracks. Yeah, it's dust.
But
Yeah,
that's
just dust.
interesting. Like
You
if
know.
I was listening to like any jazz album, if you listen to Dollar Brand's albums, from like the
Yeah,
like long time back, it almost feels as if that sound was actually part of the actual recording sound. And
yeah, sure.
little nuances like that personally I like. Um, just another follow up question on the vinyls. Do guys I was a trade. Do guys buy and sell vinyls there as well? Is that something that you guys encourage as
Yeah,
well?
yeah. Sure, we do because we can't have a culture if we don't exchange. You know. So there needs to be some form of exchange, whether it's just swapping vinyls or whether it's selling or buying other vinyls. So for the culture to be alive, we need to have a certain form of exchange. So it does also happen financially and also gift-wise, in terms form of gifting or swapping. Yeah,
That's interesting, man. Just one last question on the vinyls.
yeah,
As a contemporary musician, if you're gonna cut a new
yeah.
album or a new project, do you print it on vinyl as well, or guys
Yeah.
doing that?
Okay. We were fortunate with our record label, which we signed under S7 Village, no format, that they printed vinyls out of our debut album, you know. So we do have vinyls printed of the current music, but it's a form of an expensive like way to print vinyls because we don't have any pressing plants in anywhere in Africa. You know,
Really?
they're all overseas. Yeah, and they're all of them. They're overseas, so it's quite taxing. Yeah, to do stuff abroad and ship stuff this side. So hence I was saying we were fortunate that our record label put that in our package. So we do have both a CD and a vinyl format and all digital platforms you can find our music.
That's interesting. I never knew that about the no printing, on the continent. Then
Yeah,
wow, that's actually unbelievable. Um, Shit,
yeah,
man, that's actually unbelievable. There's, just one thinking. There's a few more things I would actually want to find out about that. I'll
yeah.
do it on my own, like the commerce, because also like there's no more CD shops anymore. So if somebody wants to buy
Yeah.
a vinyl, is it you buy it strictly online, or is the actual physical shops that
Um, okay, there are actual physical shops. There are actually physical shops available, and you can also buy online. And also, as I explained, also that we still have that culture of selling to each other what we have or swapping or exchanging what we have. So there's quite ways we different ways we're trying to use to spread is the vinyl around so that the culture doesn't die, because we believe in value of music more than how it sounds. We believe in the value.
that's
Yeah,
actually
of music more than
so
anything.
cool.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you completely. This is a little bulb that is going off in the back of my mind here. I made a little note here. Now I'm excited, and I want. Now I'm excited that I said there's a little bulb that's flashing more. um, that's
Yeah.
not. But actually, Ratu, let's just wrap up this session here.
All
And
right,
then the
cool.
next
Yeah.
we can talk about a more like current, I guess, trends. There's one or two things
Stuff.
I want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, it's cool. Then
So
yeah, we can yeah, I'm willing to have episode 103. Hopefully sometime soon where we carry on the conversation, even just speak about vinyl and the culture and other because there's a lot to
that'll
catch up
be
on, you know. Yeah.
also be dope to talk about the commerce, because I know as a, musicians,
Yeah.
because we artists here who we want people to get paid, and fascinating.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up the session.
Yeah.
I will pick up in the other
Okay.
session. Points I wanna all that.
Yeah. Away.
And we are back. You guys can see I'm on my own. Lerato edited that out somewhere. Anyway, I did think that the whole conversation around vinyls and the vinyl culture is actually rather interesting. And also the whole thing of those backdoor sessions are really really interesting, which is something that excuse me, which is something that I've been experimenting with along with Caesar and Corsi as well. I think there's really value into it. I'm also really interested in how live performances has has sort of shaped or has moved post pandemic, and I'm also very interested in how technology has got a major role to play, and that's more to do with Gallery 360 Africa, because we are working on building that platform where artists and musicians can broadcast their shows to a paying audience, by using VR, virtual reality, and well, AR first, and probably moving to virtual reality a bit later. I just think that is a very, very, very interesting conversation and a very interesting movement that is currently happening. And I was also really also what came out is how if you're not based in South Africa, most of our townships are not really go-to areas for live, for art and so forth, because the art and live music and so forth are usually in the CBDs, in the CBD, or in the more affluent areas. But the fact that these sort of backdoor sessions now sort of reimagine and open up spaces, that's also a narrative that I'm fascinated about, and I'm always looking to talk to musicians and artists and so forth, who's very hip to that trend, and it is working within it, because it always reverts back to the Gallery 360 Africa. We're following this, and we want to build a platform for it. But okay, guys, I think I'm gonna call it wraps for that. If you're new to this channel, please like and subscribe and comment to this channel, and help us grow. So smash that button. It should be or thereabout. And yeah, I look forward to the African Genius podcast with Uncle Asal Kebalan. We are recording the next day or two, some interesting stuff, and we also got some really cool um, uh, guests lined up in the forthcoming few weeks or month or so. And but definitely look forward to that. And I think that's it. So everybody, one love. Catch you next week.